السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته.
Hello, عبد الرحمن.
نعم يا شيخنا.
I apologize coming this late. Can we go on now?
نعم يا شيخنا.
إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا وسيئات أعمالنا. من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم. أما بعد, from the last two classes here, we were discussing what were the aftermath things that followed Sha'nul Ifk, those things that came up after the Ifk. From the first of them was there was a little difference about who was the person who tawalla kibr al-ifk, who was from amongst the companions the one who during the time of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam he went around to originate that slander against our mother Āishah radiyallahu anha. Who was that? Who did it? Was it Abdullah ibn Ubay ibn Salul? Was it Ali ibn Abi Talib? Was it Hassan ibn Thabit? We repeatedly mentioned that what is sound from our mother Āishah radiyallahu anha was الذي تولى كبره كان عبد الله ibn Ubay ibn Salul, the one who played the worst role in this, about whom Allah says وَالَّذِي تَوَلَّى كِبْرَهُ لَهُ عَذَابٌ عَظِيمٌ, was Abdullah ibn Ubay ibn Salul, not Ali ibn Abi Talib. Even though our mother radiyallahu anha was not pleased with the comments of Ali ibn Abi Talib. As for Hassan ibn Thabit, the statements that came from him, from her radiyallahu anha, that she said radiyallahu anha that وَأَيُّ عَذَابٍ أَشَدُّ مِنَ الْعَمْ, when one of the Tabi'un was saying that Hassan ibn Thabit was the one who played that role, and she said she hopes that Allah will forgive Hassan ibn Thabit. More so, he was already disciplined. He had the legislative punishment. He was flogged 80 strokes, like Mistah, like Hamna. The three of them were flogged. That hadith was authentic. That was the first thing we addressed about the things that happened after Al-Ifk, as Al-Imām Adh-Dhahabi has reported it in this book, Siyar A'alām An-Nubala, under the Seerah of Āishah radiyallahu anha. The other issue that came up after the Ifk was the incidents between Safwan ibn al-Mu'attal and Hassan ibn Thabit. Safwan ibn al-Mu'attal was a person of poetry. Before Ifk radiyallahu anhu, Hassan ibn Thabit used to praise the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wasallam in his poetry. And the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wasallam used to pray for him. In fact, Hassan ibn Thabit, Messenger alayhi salatu wasalam used to say to him, Ayyadaka Ru'ul Qudus, may Allah strengthen you with the spirits, with Jibreel, when he said poetry to refute the evil statements of the people of Shirk. So he was well known with good, sound knowledge of poetry to support Islam against the people of Kufur and the people of Nifaq. So during the ifk, he was also involved. Hassan ibn Thabit was involved in ifk. And at that time, he said a poem against Safwan ibn Mu'attab that Amsal Jalabibu qad azzu wa qad kathu وابن الفريعة أمسى بيضة البلد أمسى الجلابيب قد عزوا وقد كثروا وابن الفريعة أمسى بيضة البلد أمسى الجلابيب. Jilbabs. We know jilbab to be a cloth, but the munafiqun used to refer to the muhajirun as jalabib. Why? From the nature of jilbab is that it should touch the ground. So they have a way to describe anything touching the ground, anything that is down, not up. They will refer to it as what? Jilbab. And to many of it as what? Jalabib. So Hassan ibn Thabit was referring to Safwan as Jilbab, like a lowly person. So he would say, Amsal Jalabib qad azzu wa qad kathu. Amsal Jalabib. These lowly people, they have now turned azzu. They are now becoming honorable. Wa qad kathu. And there are now many. As if to say Safwan was involved in evil by way of seeking honor when he was a person of dishonor. Wabnul Furay'a. Al-Furay'atu was the mother of Hassan ibn Thabit. So Ibn al-Furay'a was who? Hassan himself. So instead of saying, as for me, he said, Wabnul Furay'a Amsa Baydat al-Balad. What he has become was Baydatul Balad. Bayda would ordinarily mean like an egg in the city. What does that mean? It means a person of honor and respect in the city. So as if to say Safwan was a person of low honor. He was a person of disrepute. He sought to do evil to gain honor. As for him, he is a respected person in the society. So when Allah revealed the innocence of Safwan, the innocence of Āishah, radiallahu anha, Safwan was angry against Hassan ibn Thabit. He saw him one day on the road and he hit him with a sword on his head, to the extent that the people were thinking that Hassan ibn Thabit was already dead. Thabit ibn Qais Ibn Shammas was saying that for Wallahi, ma arahu illa qad qatalahu. Wallahi, all that I think is that Safwan has killed Hassan ibn Thabit. Don't forget, Hassan ibn Thabit spent 60 years before Islam. So at the time of Qissatul Ifk, he was about 74 years old. So if a young man smashed a sword on the head of a man 74 years old, definitely people will think that the old man will be dead from that attack. But that was out of anger. We recall, we said this narration in the last class. We are just trying to do a recap so that when we continue the reading, we can follow up bi'idhnillah. So Thabit ibn Qais ibn Shammas was the one who grabbed Safwan after Safwan had hit Hassan ibn Thabit with the sword. He took him to the family house of Hassan ibn Thabit and he tied his hands to his neck. So Abdullah ibn Rawaha saw that Safwan ibn al-Mu'attal was held like that by Thabit ibn Qais. So he began to ask him, هل علم رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم بما صنعت به? Is the messenger aware of this thing, alayhi salatu wasalam, that you have done to Safwan ibn Mu'attal by grabbing him and tying his hands and all of that? He says, La, wallahi. Yes. The Prophet, no, the Prophet was not aware at all. So the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, Abdullah ibn Rawaha suggested to Thabit ibn Qais that when we wake up tomorrow morning, we will go to the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, we all, then we will say to the Prophet what has happened. So the next morning they reported to the Prophet And Safwan ibn al-Mu'attal, yes, he said, ihtamalani al-ghadab. What made me do that was anger. Waha another. I am here, O Messenger of Allah. فَمَا كَانَ عَلَيَّ مِنْ حَقٍّ فَخُذْنِي بِهِ. So whatever is required to be done towards me, فَخُذْنِي بِهِ. Take me and do it with me. I was angry when I hit Safwan, and when I hit Hassan ibn Thabit on the head. That was what Safwan ibn al-Mu'attal was saying, radiyallahu anhu. So the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam requested that they should bring Hassan ibn Thabit. فَأُتِيَ بِهِ. So Hassan ibn Thabit was brought to the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. وَقَالَ يَا Hassan. The Prophet said alayhi salatu, Ya Hassan, O Hassan, أتوحشت على قومي أن هداهم الله للإسلام. Are you, يعني أتنكرت? Should you be making my people dislike Islam? Because Safwan ibn al-Mu'attal was from amongst the Muhajirun. Hassan ibn Thabit was from the Ansar. You know the people of Hijrah, the Muhajirun, they migrated from Makkah to Medina. They were originally Quraysh. So the Prophet said, alayhi salatu wasalam, atawashahta ala qawmi an hadahumullahu lil Islam. After Allah had guided my people to Islam, should you be doing something, that is, should you be singing poems that should make them feel uncomfortable about their accepting Islam, such as you're saying that Amsal Jalabibu qad azu wa qad kathuru wabnu furayata amsa baydat al-balad, that you have said to Safwan ibn al-Mu'attal. Should you be doing that? The Prophet said, alayhi salatu wasalam, kana fasta alayhim. You were too much on them. Your speech on Safwan was too much. Ya Hassan, oh Hassan, ahsin fima asabak. Be nice. Show goodness regarding what has reached you. That is, the Prophet was encouraging Hassan ibn Thabit to forgive Safwan ibn al-Mu'attal over the hitting, so that Safwan would not be hit in a retaliation. So the Prophet said, alayhi salatu, Ya Hassan, oh Hassan, ahsin fima asabak. Be nice. Show goodness regarding what has reached you. Call. Hassan said on the spot, Iyalaka ya Rasul. I give it up for you, O Messenger of Allah. So when Hassan did that, we mentioned that this is evidence that the government can come in, even in the cases of murder. They will be encouraging the family of the victim of murder not to take the revenge from the person who had committed that evil act. May Allah protect us. Just like the Prophet ﷺ was encouraging Hassan ibn Thabit to give up revenge. And we mentioned a number of verses in the Quran, like when Allah said regarding Banu Israel and regarding our Ummah, that وَكَتَبْنَا عَلَيْهِمْ فِيهَا أَنَّ النَّفْسَ بِالنَّفْسِ وَالْعَيْنَ بِالْعَيْنِ وَالْأَنْفَ بِالْأَنْفِ وَالْأُذْنَ بِالْأُذْنِ وَالسِّنَّ بِالسِّنِّ وَالْجُرُوحَ قِصَاص. And this is the point. Al-Juruh, every kind of injury will be retaliated. Then Allah said, فَمَنْ تَصَدَّقَ بِهِ فَهُوَ كَفَّارَةٌ لَهُ. For any person who gives up retaliation, qisas, for the sake of Allah, that is a means of sadaqah. So the Prophet encouraged Hassan ibn Thabit. He said, Ahsin fima asab. Be nice regarding the affliction that has reached you. Qala hiya laka ya Rasul. Hassan said, I give it up for you, O Messenger of Allah. So the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, by means of showing goodness to Hassan, because Hassan showed goodness. Look at this Messenger alayhi salam. He wanted to show goodness to Hassan because Hassan has showed goodness in this case regarding Safwan, who had attacked him out of anger with that sword. Safwan ibn Mu'attal, the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, فأعطاه النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم سيرين القبطية. So the Prophet gave Hassan ibn Thabit Sirin. Who is Sirin? The sister of Maria al-Qibtiyah. So her name was what? Sirin. So the Prophet gave Sirin to Hassan ibn Thabit. فَوَلَدَتْ لَهُ عَبْدَ الرَّحْمَنِ. And Sirin gave birth to a boy. For who? For Hassan ibn Thabit. Whose name was what? Abdur-Rahman. وَأَعْطَاهُ أَرْضًا كَانَتْ لِأَبِي طَلْحَةَ تَصَدَّقَ بِهَا أَبُو طَلْحَةَ عَلَى رَسُولِ اللَّهِ. The Prophet also, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he gave as a second gift after the wife. He also gave a gift of a land to Hassan ibn Thabit. That land was belonging to who? Abu Talha. And Abu Talha had given up that land to the Messenger alayhi salatu wasalam by way of a charity. But the Prophet gave it to Hassan by means of downing his anger and showing appreciation for his giving up retaliation against who? Safwan ibn al-Mu'attal. So these were the efforts of Hassan. Hassan had urged, he had urged by getting involved in ifk, and the hadith is authentic that he was also flogged. He was flogged 80 strokes at his age, radiallahu. But since after that time, he went on to show goodness to Āishah. When he saw Āishah, he made a poetry to please Āishah, to say good of her. That's why the scholars say, if you backbite someone behind him, when you come back to where he was, if you have repented from that backbiting, from that riba, you go back to that same place where you had made giba of him, and you say good of him. And in every circumstance, you find an opportunity, you say good of him, by way of cancelling out an evil deed with a good one. So Hassan ibn Thabit went on, and he was saying good poems about who? Āishah. And it's one of them that Imām Adh-Dhahabi, rahimahullah, mentioned here regarding Hassan ibn Thabit. Imām Adh-Dhahabi said in page 163 now, he said, قال ابن إسحاق, Imam ibn Ishaq, Muhammad ibn Ishaq, ibn Yasar, صاحب المغازي. He said, وقال حسان في عائشة. From the things that Hassan ibn Thabit said regarding our mother Āishah, radiyallahu anha, was رأيتك وليغفر لك الله حرة. رأيتك وليغفر لك الله حرة من المحصنات غير ذات غوائل. رأيتك وليغفر لك الله حرة من المحصنات غير ذات غوائل. حصان رزان ما تزن بريبة وتصبح قرصا من لحوم الغوائل. These are the first two stanzas of these poems. In it, Safwan ibn Mu'attal, in it, Hassan ibn Thabit said regarding our mother Āishah, radiyallahu anhu, he said, رَأَيْتُكِ حُرَّةً. I see you as a freeborn. Because in those days, it was a honorable thing that the person was a freeborn. You could have been a slave. So if you're a freeborn, it was a thing of virtue and honor for you. So Hassan ibn Thabit said, radiyallahu anhu, regarding our mother Āishah, radiyallahu anha, ra'aytuki. My considerations regarding you, as I have seen you, is that وَلْيَغْفِرْ لَكِ اللَّهُ, and I beg Allah to grant you forgiveness. I see you hurratan, as a freeborn woman. من المحصنات غير ذات قوائل. من المحصنات. You are from the women of virtue who do not go near indecency. We remember in the Quran when Allah was talking about the permissibility of marrying the women from Ahlul Kitab. He says, وَالْمُحْصَنَاتِ مِنَ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ وَالْمُحْصَنَاتِ مِنَ الَّذِينَ أُوتُوا الْكِتَابَ مِنْ قَبْلِكُمْ. So al-muhsana, or muhsanat, are women who are chaste. They've never been in zina. Al-muhsanat are women who are
chaste. No hand of indecency ever touched him. Radiallahu anhu. So Hassan said, رَأَيْتُكِ وَلْيَغْفِرْ لَكِ اللَّهُ حُرَّةً. My thoughts of you, O Āishah, may Allah grant you forgiveness. That you are a free-born woman, مِنَ الْمُحْصَنَاتِ, from those women who are chaste. غَيْرِ ذَاتِ غَوَائِلِ. You are not from the women of indecency. Ghawa'il is the plural of gha'ila. Ghawa'il is the plural of what? Gha'ila. And what that means is women of evil and indecency. You are not. You are min al-muhsanat. You are from the women of decency and noble character. And then he said, Hassan and Razan. This stanza, Hassan and Razan, we mentioned it previously, and it occurs in the books of hadith, including Sahih al-Bukhari and other books of hadith, that Hassan ibn Thabit, one of the stanzas that he poetized to our mother Āishah, radiyallahu anha, was Hassan, Razan, ما تزن بريبته وتصبح غرسا من لحوم الغوافل. حصان, you are a reserved woman, O Āishah. You are a reserved woman. Razanun, you are a woman of balance, intellectual, reserved, and what? Balance. Radiallahu anha. Ma tuzannu biribatin. You never go near anything of ambiguity regarding your chastity. Most times women complain, my husband is accusing me that. No, your husband will not accuse you. His sense of protection, his sense of jealousy is high. So he will feel worried. Where are you? Where did you go to? What are you doing? Why did you go there? Why did you not tell me? Every man with a sense of balance and protection for his wife will definitely do that. And those who will not do that in the Ummah are men of indecency. They are referred to as the youth. And the ahadith are clear that the youth will not be in Al-Jannah. But be that as it may, the woman too should avoid movements that will cast aspersions at her personality. So what Hassan ibn Thabit was saying here is that Ma tuzannu biribatin. Āishah never does that. Radiallahu anha. Āishah, radiallahu anha, our mother, she never does anything that will make you begin to think, where did she go to? Where did she come from? Where is she going to? So women, if you don't want your husband to be worried about where you are going, what are you doing there? Who are you calling? You don't do something that will make your husband begin to ask you those questions. That is by way of becoming like our mother Āishah. Ma tuzannu biribatin. She never goes near anything of doubts and what? Ambiguity. وَتُصْبِحُ غَرْسًا. She wakes up becoming hungry. Her stomach is empty. مِنْ لُحُومِ الْغَوَافِلِ. From the flesh of innocent women. What does that mean? She doesn't backbite innocent women. Hassan ibn Thabit went on to say, وَإِنَّ الَّذِي قَدْ كِيلَ لَيْسَ بِلَائِكٍ بِكِ الدَّهْرَ بَلْ كِيلُ امْرِئِ مُتَمَاحِلِ وَإِنَّ الَّذِي قَدْ كِيلَ لَيْسَ بِلَائِكٍ بِكِ الدَّهْرَ بَلْ كِيلُ امْرِئٍ مُتَمَاحِلِ. Hassan ibn Thabit went on to say, إِنَّ الَّذِي كِيلَ. This evil statement that was said about you, لَيْسَ بِلَائِكٍ. It is not appropriate for you. It is not appropriate for anybody to think evil of who? Āishah, radiallahu anha. And like one of the scholars, Al-Hafiz ibn Kathir, if I remember vividly, said, there is no riba, there is no ambiguity, even in the way Hassan, even in the way Safwan ibn Mu'attal led the camel into Medina. The camel came into the Medina in the afternoon, in the open eyes of everybody. And rather than walk at the back of Āishah, Hassan was walking in front. Safwan ibn Mu'attal was walking in front. He wasn't even knowing what Āishah was doing behind the camel. Radiyallahu anhuma. And they came back in the afternoon, not in the night, nor in the evening, in the open. Everybody was there seeing them coming. those who do evil will not do that. They will hide to make the people feel that they've not done evil. And in trying to hide, the hiding itself becomes a symbol of ambiguity. But as for her, what they have said, غَيْرُ لَائِكٍ لَيْسَ بِاللَّائِكٍ. Hassan ibn Thabit said, it is not appropriate with her. Ad-dahra, forever. لَيْسَ بِاللَّائِكٍ بِكِ الدَّهْرَ. Forever it is not appropriate to you, O Aisha. What was said regarding you is not appropriate at all. بَلْ قِيلُ امْرِئِ مُتَمَاحِلِ. قِيلُ يعني قَوْلُ امْرِئِ مُتَمَاحِلُ. That statement is the statement of a person مُتَمَاحِلُ, a person who is not stable. When a person becomes mentally unstable, is referred to as mutamahil. So it's by way of pacifying her. That's what they say. It's not a few, Aisha. It's rather a statement of a person whose comment should not be relied upon. فَإِن كُنْتُ أَهْجُوكُمْ كَمَا بَلَّغُوكُمْ فَلَا رَفَعَتْ صَوْتِي إِلَى أَنَامِلِي. فَإِن كُنْتُ أَهْجُوكُمْ كَمَا بَلَّغُوكُمْ فَلَا رَفَعَتْ صَوْتِي إِلَى أَنَامِلِي. فَإِن كُنْتُ أَهْجُوكُمْ. If it was true that I was actually abusing you, O Aisha, كَمَا بَلَّغُوكُمْ, as it was brought to you and to the rest of the Muslims, فَلَا رَفَعَتْ صَوْتِي إِلَى فَلَا رَفَعَتْ صَوْتِي إِلَيَّ أَنَامِلِي. Let my fingers become unable to raise my cane. So, you know a cane? And every person who wants to use a cane does what? You raise the cane. With what? With the fingers. So if it was true, what was said that I had said about you negatively, let my fingers not be able to raise my whip for me. Meaning that let him be paralyzed. So the scholars say here, Hassan ibn Thabit was praying against himself. Meaning that he was trying to say, I did not say that. Oh, I was misunderstood. Oh. For you to be sure, I didn't say that. Or I said something that was misunderstood. But all of these, what is authentic was that Allahu A'lam, Hassan ibn Thabit actually said that. And that was why the Prophet was there. And actually he was flogged. And that would be after due investigation had been made. All the companions, they all say it. Hassan ibn Thabit was involved. Radiyallahu anhu. So he said that, وَكَيْفَ وَوُدِّي مَا حَيِّيتُ وَنُصْرَتِي. How would I have said that? وَوُدِّي, when all my love, مَا حَيِّيتُ, as long as I live, وَنُصْرَتِي, and all my means of providing help, لِآلِ رَسُولِ اللَّهِ. It has always ever been for the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam and his family. These people who are what? Zaynil Mahafili. These people who, when they are in a gathering, they are the beauty of that gathering. When they are not in the gathering, when you mention them, the gathering becomes a gathering of beauty. Everybody wants to listen to hear about Muhammad and his family. So why would I have said that about this kind of a family? وَكَيْفَ وَوُدِّي مَا حَيِّيتُ وَنُصْرَتِي لِآلِ مُحَمَّدٍ أو لِآلِ رَسُولِ اللَّهِ. Why would I have said that? وَوُدِّي, when the entirety of my love, وَنُصْرَتِي, and the entirety of my means of providing help, مَا حَيِّيتُ, as long as I live, لِآلِ رَسُولِ اللَّهِ, they are due for the household of the Messenger alayhi salatu wasalam. Zin al-Mahafili, the Messenger who is, and his family who are the beauties of every gathering. وَإِنَّ لَهُمْ عِزَّةً, the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam and his family, لَهُمْ عِزَّةً, they have honor, they have nobility. يُرَى النَّاسُ دُونَهُ كِسَارًا, the entirety of the rest of the people are seen below that honor of Muhammad. alayhi salatu wassalam, al-izzu kullu tatawuli, the kind of honor that is ever growing and growing and growing, ever high. They are held in high esteem. The rest of the people are seen below the honor and esteem of the Messenger. So why should I go on to say those kind of unprintable statements against that household of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wasallam? He went on and said, Aqilatu hayy min Lu'ayy ibn Ghalib. Aqilatu hayy min Lu'ayy ibn Ghalib. Āishah, who was Aqila, like the wife of a particular family, the wife of the family, the descendants of Lu'ayy ibn Ghalib, Kiramil Masa'i, a group of people who, whatever they pursue is a theme of nobility. So why would I be saying things about people like this? Why should I say that? Majduhum ghayru za'ili. And their esteem is an esteem that never fades away. La yazu ghayru za'ili. It will not fade away. The esteem, majduhum, their esteem, their respect in the community, the reverence people have for them. Ghayru za'ili. It's a respect that will not go away. Why should I say that about the wife of a family like that? I would not have said that. Radiyallahu anhu. Muhazzabatun, someone who is purified. Qad tayyaballahu khimaha, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made her asl, her parents, to be from sound, pure foundation. That is, she has a good family background. وَطَهَّرَهَا اللَّهُ مِنْ كُلِّ سُوءٍ وَبَاطِلٍ. And when Allah revealed the verses of the Quran, طَهَّرَهَا اللَّهُ, Allah purified her, subhanahu wa ta'ala, مِنْ كُلِّ سُوءٍ وَبَاطِلٍ, from every evil and everything of indecency, batil. Allah purified Āishah from all of these. These were the poems that Hassan ibn Thabit was mentioned by Muhammad ibn Ishaq in his book of Seerah to have mentioned regarding Āishah. So these were the incidences after ifk that we have seen. We've seen the issues about who was actually alladhi tawalla kibrahu, that it was Abdullah ibn Ubay ibn Salul. We also saw out of anger the attack that Safwan ibn Mu'attal had directed to who? Hassan ibn Thabit, when he injured him on his head. And we saw the various attempts by Hassan to please our mother Āishah. He said something good. He had said something bad. In fact, he had to say, I never said it. I didn't say it. By way of seeking the pleasure. Because in the Hasanat is in the sayas. Evil deeds are taken away by good ones. If you do something bad, then do the one that is good. By way of taking away, like the Messenger said, alayhi salam, وَأَتْبِعِ الْحَسَنَةَ وَأَتْبِعِ السَّيِّئَةَ الْحَسَنَةَ تَمْحُهَا. Follow up evil deeds, which ones? With good ones. تَمْحُهَا. The good ones will wipe off the evil ones. So Hassan ibn Thabit went on, even when he was injured by Safwan ibn Mu'attal, he still gave it up by way of making charity. And the Prophet, he also gained from that. He gave a wife and he gave a landed property. And then he still went on to say good things about our mother Āishah. In every circumstance, these are noble things. All that he tried to say was, look, you're a person of honor. And there is no indecent speech directed to you that will be appropriate for you. Because you're a person in your foundation, you are nice. And the person, the family you got married into is a family of nobility. This is a family when whatever is mentioned regarding them in the gathering, it's always ever a thing of goodness. So a woman like this, what is it negatively that people will say about her that will be appropriate? And the only thing that will be appropriate regarding her are things of goodness, nobility, and respect for her. So this is the end of the matters that followed the ifk. This is the end of the matters that followed al-ifk as far as Imām Adh-Dhahabi was concerned in this book, Siyar A'alām An-Nubala. The next in the series of issues we shall mention, because this matter occurred in the 6th year of Hijrah. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam died 10 years after, 4 years after Hijrah. So it means they still had about 5 years after that incident, 5 years of marital life between the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam and our mother Āishah. So what were the other things after they passed this stage of difficulty, this stage of trial, this stage of pain that we have read regarding the Prophet ﷺ, regarding Āishah, regarding the rest of the companions that was brought to them by Abdullah ibn Ubay ibn Salul, and that was helped spread by the likes of Hassan ibn Thabit and Mr. ibn Isasam and Hamna, the younger sister of Zainab into Jahsh. Radiallahu anhu. I think it would be a good place to stop. In the next class, we'll be continuing about other aspects of the marital life of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam and our mother Āishah. Radiallahu anha. About the Rahman, if we have a few questions, we can attempt them in class today, inshallah.
Salawatullahi alaykum ya Shaykhana. So there's only one question.
Yeah. Naam?
A question is here.
We don't have okay.
It reads, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi. Does the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam also accept sadaqah based on the gifted land to Abu Talha, which has been stated in this hadith as sadaqah?
تصدق بها أبو طلحة. Abu Talha gave it as sadaqah not to the Prophet ﷺ himself. He only placed it in the care of the Prophet. Just like zakawat were placed in the care of the Prophet. The Prophet does not take from it. What he takes from was hadiyah. I hope that it is clear. تصدق بها أبو طلحة على رسول الله. Not that he gave it to the Prophet as a sadaqah. He put it forward to the Prophet so that the Prophet takes care of it as a sadaqah on behalf of the rest of the Muslims. So he will give it to the rest of the Muslims. He will not take from it, nor make benefit from it. I hope that that is clear about the Rahman.
Naam ya Shaykhana, jazakumullah khair.
Ameen.
This one says, can we name our daughters Hassanun or Rozanun?
Subhanallah. Don't name your daughters Hassan or Rozan. Name your daughter Āishah. Don't name your daughter Hassan or Rozan. Name her Āishah. Because Āishah is Hassan, Rozan, ma tuzannu bi ribatin. وتصبح غرسا من لحوم الغوافل. In this stanza alone, she has been mentioned with 4 things. Why do you take one of 4 things when you can take everything? Describing one single person. She is Hassan, na Āishah. Razan, it is Āishah. Ma tuzannu bi ribatin, it is Āishah. وتصبح غرسا من لحوم الغوافل, it is Āishah. 4 things were mentioned in a single stanza about Āishah. You want to take Hassan or you want to take Razan. Why don't you take Ma tuzannu bi ribatin, the one who does not behave, putting herself in ambiguities? Why don't you take that? That is why you will not see any Muslim after this incident taking Hassan as a name. You will not see it. We have not seen anything like that. I'm always ever dealing with books of hadith talking about the names of the people who came in this history of Islam. I have never seen a woman bearing Hassan or Razan because of this incident. But I know many women who would have born Āishah because of her intelligence, her patience, her forbearance in this incident. So give the girl Āishah. It's like instead of calling elephant, you say big ear with a trunk, big feet. Why not call the thing elephant? So call the name. Once you say A'ishah, you have gathered Hassanun and more than Hassan. You have gathered Razanun and what? More than Razan. I hope that it is clear. So don't name your child Hassan, name her A'ishah, name her Siddiqah. Radiallahu anha. Now,
this one says, can we add beads on any decorating material on the ear?
People always ask this question. Can you put something on the hair? Whatever requires you to tie on the head, don't put it. Whatever requires you to attach something to your hairs, don't attach anything to your hairs. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Jabir ibn Abdullah al-Ansari in a hadith in Sahih Muslim, he says, زجر رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم أن تصل المرأة بشعرها شيئا. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam cautioned against a woman tying anything to the hair. Some of the people say no, it is talking about wig. It's wig, anything. Anything is wig and any other than wig. So it's not restricted to the wigs. There are reports from Abdullah ibn Abbas, from Abu Huraira, prohibiting wig, from Muawiyah ibn Abi Sufyan, prohibiting the use of wigs. So it's not just about wigs or hair attachments. There's also the hadith of Abdullah ibn Mas'ud. So it's not just about hair attachments. It's about what? Not tying anything to the hair. And this is the view of the large majority, the view of the majority. And Imam Shawkani mentioned that in Nail al-Awtar. Shaykh Muhammad ibn Adam al-Ethiopi also mentioned it in Al-Bahr al-Muhit, his sharh on Sahih Muslim. That's also his view too. So it's not a strange view at all, that the woman should not attach anything to her hairs, whether an hair or a rope or a thread or colored or whatever. Don't tie anything to your hairs. Allahu Alam.
Jazakumullah khairan. Another one says, Āishah radiyallahu anha shared this family experience to teach us. Can we also share our family experiences or secrets to help others?
If you are Āishah or in the position of Āishah, because you see women now, they are doing webinar. They want to tell young girls how their husband was beating them. Their husband is not in the status of the Prophet Muhammad. Neither are you in the status of Āishah. Those who can do that are scholars and the wives of scholars. Very well-known, eminent people in the community of Islam. They can do that when there is need for it. When there is. Otherwise, not just anybody. That's why Allah was telling the wives of the Prophet that لَسْتُنَّ كَأَحَدٍ مِنَ النَّاسِ أو لَسْتُنَّ كَأَحَدٍ مِنَ النِّسَاءِ. The wives of the Prophet are not like other women. So you cannot bring this rule into every other woman. Any woman who sees one, like you would say today, one shege with her husband, she comes to organize a webinar to tell people about that shege. And then you begin to make people think that that is all about marriage. Meanwhile, you are gone into that marriage without making istikhara. You have done that marriage in a big wedding in Lagos, in Abuja, when there were a lot of issues of Jahiliyyah. They were snapping pictures in your marriage. You were wearing a wedding gown in your marriage. Men and women mixed up in your own marriage and all of this. You didn't know from that time that you're already starting a trouble in your marriage. You were snapping pictures in your marriage. Some people were playing Sonia Day in your marriage. Some people, in fact, could have drank alcohol in your marriage. You didn't know that that's trouble for your marriage. How can you bring the lessons of this kind of a marriage to discuss it like the lessons in the marriage of an Āishah radiallahu anha? Are these two things not different? So women, young women today, don't go and start telling people about your bad experiences in marriage, because you are not the standards for the people. Allah has not placed you in the position of standards. Those in the position of standards should do that. Did you see Hafsa telling you this? Even though Hafsa is in the position of example and model. Who amongst the Muslim women do you see again after Āishah telling us this? But you know Āishah, even amongst the women of the Prophet ﷺ, you know her status. So it's not just anybody who can go do that. It's not just anybody. Not just anybody. Not just anybody. So the women don't come in the public to start telling us about evils you have seen in your marriage and all of this. Because your marriage is not the standard for the rest of the women. Rather than doing that, go and learn more about this story of Āishah. Repeat this story of Āishah to the people. This story, I'm never, ever, ever tired of telling this story. The only thing that it does to me is that it brings me tears anytime I'm talking about it. I'm never tired of telling us this story about Āishah. So instead of telling the people about yourself, tell them about Āishah. Why? Āishah is the standard, not you. I hope that it is clear about the Rahman.
Naam ya Shaykh jazakumullah khair.
Ameen. One.
Another question is,
Can we have
need...
this question today?
Now?
Can we have this question you are going about now as the last one for today?
Naam ya Shaykh.
There are others if you want us to respond to.
No other questions.
Let's make it the last one. We call it a day from there, inshallah.
Now, it says, please, we need clarification on hadith of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam that says, "La yaqbalu Allahu salat al-ahid illa bi khimar." In relation to what?
Salat ha'idin illa bi khimariha.
Now, and he said, in relation to what Sheikh said the other time, that if female wanted to tie wrapper while praying salah, she should tie it down.
Yes, illa bi jilbabiha. Khimaruha is jilbabuha. Whatever she uses to pray, that she's bringing on her head, the jilbab should cover the feet. It is not only this hadith that's about the woman's dress in salah. The woman is also commanded to cover her feet, at least the upper parts of her feet, that line on the feet. She's required to cover it. And her jilbab should touch the ground. The jilbab should touch the ground. So khimar does not mean only putting one thing on your head and wrapping the head. No, it doesn't mean that. Āishah, who reported this hadith, go and find out what she wears when she prays. I had compiled some athar on this hadith and how it was practiced by those who reported the hadith. Āishah herself will not just tie a scarf. Khimar here means jilbab. That the thing she wears on her head that goes from her head to her feet. This is what they wear in Salah. Go back to other books of hadith and athar. And that is one of the biggest evil non-Muslims have done to many Muslims who don't learn Arabic. They will translate khimar to mean headscarf. You are the one, you have your problem. If because of your not knowing Arabic, you take khimar to mean headscarf. It is your own problem. Khimar cannot mean headscarf. Khimar means much more than that. It means what a woman covers herself with that starts from the head. Did he not say, وَلْيَضْرِبْنَ بِخُمُرِهِنَّ عَلَى جُيُوبِهِنَّ? It should go down. It is still khimar even when it goes below your juyub. He's just telling you where the khimar should get to. But it starts from the head and it goes down the body. So the salah is not accepted for a person, a woman, except when she's wearing her jilbab. That here we are referring to as a khimar. The entirety of her body should be covered, leaving aside the face and her palms. Allahu Alam. I hope that it is clear about the Rahman. Don't translate ever khimar to mean headscarf. It is the plot of non-Muslims against Muslims who did not learn Arabic to know that khimar does not mean head tie. Allahu Alam.
Jazakumullah khairan, barakallahu feekum.
We'll meet in class tomorrow morning, inshallah. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك